Touchdown, no.
Game number 3, Scranton Prep's defense shut down a Riverside team that had won their first 3 ball games. They built a 23-0 halftime lead. Then in the second half, they would turn it over to Greg Lynett, who electrified the crowd with 2 long punt returns for touchdowns, this one covering 61 yards early in the third period. Prep wins their first of the season, 35-0 over the Vikings, who fall to 3-1.
At Scranton Memorial Stadium, the Red Raiders and Scranton Prep each traded punts before the Cavaliers got things rolling. With this pass to Jason Mattioli, good to the Scranton 19. 4 plays later on 4th and goal, off the fake, Nick Marinacci is open for the score, and with the kick, Prep leads 7-0 after 1.
Game number 2, third period, Valley View 6, Prep 0. The Cougars driving. George Howanitz to Don Carey. The ball inside the Cavaliers 10. Couple of plays later, Howanitz gets the ball over the goal line up top, and Valley View had a 14-0 lead. They scored again late in the ball game on a 79-yard drive. Russell Canaveri gets a big chunk of that, a 31-yard dash down to the 14-yard line of Scranton Prep. Then Howanitz would get the touchdown on the option as the Cougars end Prep's 3-game win streak 21-0.
I thought Prep was well prepared to play. I knew they were big. I knew they won 3 games in a row. And, it was a hard-fought contest, but, we did end up coming on top, and that's the things I support.
That victory for Valley View was their 7th without a loss this season.
At the multi-purpose stadium, Prep had a 21-6 advantage, but not for long as Dave Skoblik keeps it at the Pittston area 27, gets into trouble at the 10, then flips it to Greg Lynett, who scampers in for the score. On the ensuing kickoff, Prep special teams come through and they recover this squib kick at the Patriot 29. On the very next play, Pittston area's John Tighe picks up the loose ball, and look at the big man go. Rumbling, stumbling, fumbling to the Cavalier 22-yard line. Prep would hold. In the 4th, Joe Krokowski puts the capper on this Prep victory with his 12-yard jaunt. The Cavs go to 5-4 on the year, 34-6 over Pittston area. Tom Honnold, Eyewitness Sports.
At Dunmore tonight, the Bucks led 13-7 on Prep and would strike quickly in the third period. Quarterback Jack Dempsey drops back and throws a perfect pass to Tom Ralicky, who makes the grab a step behind the defender. He will go on to complete a 70-yard scoring play. The 2-point conversion made it 21-7 Dunmore. On the ensuing kickoff, Greg Lynett would drop the football, but he picked it up and found an opening. He takes off, picking up some nice blocks along the way, and he carries the ball all the way down to the Dunmore 14-yard line. 4 plays later on 4th and 4 from the 8, Dave Skoblik on the option keeps and scores. It was 21-13. In the end, the Dunmore defense would stop a 2-point conversion try by Prep in the final minute. The Bucks hang on to win 21-19.
Our first game takes us to Dunmore, where Scranton Prep is hosting Honesdale in the District 2 Class AAA semifinal. Cavaliers came out smoking. Joe Grachowski takes the opening kick at the 20. He cuts back to the right and goes the distance for a 6-0 lead. Honesdale counters that score with an 8-minute, 13-second drive that's keyed by this fake punt. Steve Belanovich finds Chris Erickson for 22 yards in the first down.
Belanovich caps off the drive as he goes up the middle for 1 yard and a 6-6 tie. After a Dave Skoblik 48-yard run that put the ball on the 19-yard line, Skoblik would then find Greg Lynett, who fights his way into the end zone. The 2-point conversion gives the Cavaliers a 14-6 lead. Scranton Prep will meet Nanticoke next Saturday at Lackawanna County Stadium for the District 2 Class AAA Championship.
In the AAA title game, Scranton Prep built a 21-0 first-half lead on Nanticoke. Dave Skoblik intercepts this pass and returns it 45 yards for a touchdown on the second play of the game. But the Trojans would come back in the second half thanks to the offensive passing and the defensive work of Micah Resick. They tie the game at 21 in regulation. They win it on a field goal in overtime, 24-21.
District 2 AAA showdown, Prep and Nanticoke. The Cavaliers score on the second play of the game as Dave Skoblik picks off this pass. He returns it 45 yards for the score, and Prep led Nanticoke 6-0. Later in the game, the Cavalier defense does it again. This time, quarterback Micah Resick is picked off by Jamie Butler. He takes off and returns the football 48 yards for the touchdown, and Scranton Prep was leading Nanticoke with a 2-point conversion. It was now 14-0. The Trojans of Nanticoke would come all the way back in the second half of play behind the brilliant work of quarterback Micah Resick and offense and defense. They would tie Prep 21-21 at the end of regulation play. They would pick up a field goal in the extra period. They would win the championship this afternoon, downing the Cavaliers of Prep 24-21. This is Jim Miller, Eyewitness Sports.
A lot of things will stay the same for the Scranton Prep football team this year, but one thing that won't be the same is the head coaching spot. Phil Angeli left after the final game of 1992, and he's been replaced by longtime assistant Tony Cantafio.
All in all, I hope people have high expectations for our football team. I don't think you can achieve victory without thinking victory, and so those high expectations are going to lead to some success.
Cantafio was very grateful to Angeli for leaving him with an ideal situation. He returns nearly every starter from both sides of the football, and that makes him very optimistic.
We've got 8 starters returning on defense. All we need to fill in and get some adequate play from our tackles and our nose guard. My entire backfield are 3-year starters. Quarterback, fullback, and the 2 halfbacks. My tight end is a 3-year starter. My split end will be a 2-year starter. My center, 2 years. My 1 guard. So again, there's 7 starters back there on offense.
The final game of last year has left a sour taste in the mouths of these Cavaliers. A furious fourth-period rally by Nanticoke cost Prep the District 2 title. Now they come back wanting to prove something to themselves and everyone else.
It's a kind of a situation that doesn't happen very often, except I think maybe in the NFL, where you finish one season and begin the new season with the same playing the same football team. So, what happened at the end of last season is really it's in the back of their minds, and I suppose in the course of our preseason they'll be reminded of it a couple of times.
Nanticoke beat Prep twice last season with fourth-period comebacks. The Cavaliers will be looking for some revenge tonight. Sid Michaels, Eyewitness Sports.
The Cavaliers of Scranton Prep kicked off their football season tonight under the leadership of new head coach Tony Cantafio. He replaced Phil Angeli on the sidelines after more than a decade on the job. Nanticoke self-destructs on their first punt of the football game. The snap gets by the kicker. It rolls around near the end zone. The Cavaliers fall on it for the score, and they would take the early 6-0 lead. The Cavaliers on the move in quarter number 2 when Jason Howells gets the call on the draw play. He drives over several tacklers and races 32 yards for the apparent touchdown, but the play was called back by a penalty. Later in the quarter, the Cavaliers would get that score back when quarterback Dave Skoblik rolls out and with this outstanding touch puts the football in the hands of Joe Grahowski for the score, and it was now a 12-0 Scranton Prep lead. The Cavaliers would then tack on 2 more as Skoblik calls his own number and takes it around the left side as Scranton Prep and Nanticoke open the football season tonight at the Lackawanna County Stadium.
At North Pocono, Scranton Prep flexed their muscles against the Trojans. Jason Howells breaks through. He makes the sack, forces the fumble, and then recovers the football. Quarterback Dave Skoblick would get the snap, drop back, pump, and then find Rob Grasso along the far sideline. This is a 46-yard gain, moving the football to the North Pocono 33-yard line. Several plays later, Howells takes the handoff straight up the middle. He goes 16 yards for the touchdown. Scranton Prep tunes up for their battle with Berwick next Friday down in North Pocono tonight. Rookie head coach Tony Cantafio knew he'd have a good team when he took over Scranton Prep this season. But did he expect two very convincing wins over Nanticoke and North Pocono to start the campaign?
That's just what we hoped for. There were two big games, particularly from the past experiences, for us to get over both physically and psychologically, and the kids feel real good about themselves right now.
The North Pocono win was particularly satisfying since it came against a league foe and against a team that has had Prep's number.
The last 2 years, North Pocono has really laid a number on us, and for us to come back, to go up there in particular and play the way we did last Friday night was a big boost for us.
Now for Prep, it's Berwick. Enough said.
These kind of opportunities don't come around very frequently, and bringing them up here on our home turf and matching up the way we do, we feel like we're going to be in this football game, and don't be surprised.
Prep and Berwick Friday night 7:30 at Lackawanna County Stadium. Sid Michaels, Eyewitness Sports. Game number 2 tonight, Prep scored first, but Berwick capped a 21-point second period with this touchdown pass from Dante Pecorelli to Mike Bennett, who takes the ball away from the defender. Bulldogs up 21-6 at half. In the third period, Berwick had another sustained drive culminating in yet another Pecorelli to Bennett touchdown pass, 27-6. For most of tonight's game, it was a stifling Berwick defense that kept Scranton Prep in check. The Cavaliers would get a late score from quarterback Dave Skoblick on the sneak, but Berwick continues to roll, beating Prep tonight 27-12.
Riverside was looking to bust out of the Big 11 slump, having lost 23 of the last 24 conference games. And they started out in a big way, as on the first play from scrimmage, Bill Posden breaks to the right, heads for the sideline, and he is gone. 67 yards, and the Vikes had an early 6-0 lead. Prep would answer as Jason Howell steps in front of this pass to put the Cavs in business at the Riverside 32. 4 plays later, Howells used some second effort to cross the goal line in this Big 11 battle.
At Lackawanna County Stadium, Scranton Prep opened up a 16-point lead on Scranton High and used the running of Jason Howells to add to that by halftime. Using the double handoff from the 5, the Cavaliers' Joe Grahusky gets into the end zone with just under 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Scranton Prep stays unbeaten in Big 11 play tonight, downing the Knights of Scranton High.
At the multi-purpose stadium, the Cavaliers are doing a number on the Lakeland Chiefs, 26-6. However, this botched punt by Prep opened the door for Kevin McGregor, who scoots in from 2 yards, narrowing the lead to 26-12. In the fourth, though, Joe Grokowski seals the Chief fate as he rumbles 22 yards as Scranton Prep posts their 5th win in 6 tries and remains unbeaten in the Big 11. For the Friday Scoreboard Show, Tom Honnold, Eyewitness Sports.
First we go to Peckville. Prep, unbeaten in Big 11 play, fumbles the football. Valley View's Mario Hanyon picks it up. He'll roll all the way down to the Cavaliers' 28-yard line. The Cougars were in business. 1 play later, Hanyon gets the call. He will pinball his way through the Scranton Prep defense. A marvelous 28-yard run for Hanyon for a touchdown and for a 7-0 Valley View lead. Prep used a turnover to post their first touchdown of the night. Valley View quarterback John Munley is leveled from behind by J.P. Gibbons, who came through untouched. The ball comes loose. Prep recovers at the Valley View 39. The Cavaliers' scoring drive would include this key 4th and 11 play from the 19. Dave Skoblick and Jason Howells hook up for 14 yards in the first down. A couple of plays later, it's Rich Moretic going in from the 1 to even up tonight's game in Peckville. Game number 1 tonight, Lackawanna County Stadium. Abington Heights moved into Prep territory on their very first possession, but turned the ball over. The Cavaliers took just 3 plays to get on the scoreboard. Quarterback Dave Skoblik hits Rob Grasso with a pass across the middle, and he would do the rest, avoiding several tackles, including one by his own man around the 10. Grasso completes the fine 48-yard touchdown play. The Cavaliers lead Abington Heights 6-0. The Comets again put together a nice drive right after that, but again a turnover hurts Joe Grahusky, his second interception of the ball game. Prep stays unbeaten in league play, downing Abington Heights. Game number 2, suburban action.
It was senior night at Pittston area, but it was a junior who did some damage early as Jeremy Korpusik picks up this block punt and he was gone. Prep had the early 7-0 lead. Pittston area comes back as Mike Alba hauls in his pass, good for 35 yards down to the Cav 21-yard line. The drive would stall. Corey Rowan tries his 40-yard field goal attempt. The kick was short and Prep held its lead.
Big 11 leaders Scranton Prep led Dunmore 7-6 in the third period tonight at Lackawanna County Stadium. The Bucks 4th and 2 from the 5. The Cavaliers come up with a stop on quarterback Jack Dempsey to preserve the lead. Fourth quarter now still a 1-point difference. Prep's 4th and inches try from their own 17 is stuffed by the Dunmore front. The Bucks take over. They get to the Prep 9-yard line. This time they go for 3. Pat Core drills a 26-yard field goal. Dunmore was on top 9-7. Prep had 2 more chances, but turnovers kill their hopes. The second and the final minute when Dempsey intercepts inside the 20-yard line. Dunmore hands Scranton Prep their first Big 11 loss of the season tonight in local high school football. Wildman at Scranton Memorial Stadium tonight when West Scranton's Sam Egan scored with 7:09 to go in the half. It was 15-8 Invaders over Prep. And that was just starting. 2 minutes and 36 seconds later, Egan bursts through the middle. He takes off on a 55-yard touchdown run. West was threatening to make it a rout. They led 22-8. Prep, though, would score twice in the final minute of the first half to get back into it. First, Dave Skoblik throws downfield. Rich Moretic makes a great over-the-shoulder grab. A 49-yard touchdown makes it 22-15 with 53 seconds left. Time was running out. West got to Prep's 33-yard line. They tried to stop the clock on the pass out of bounds, but that throw was intercepted by J.P. Gibbons, and he was gone. 67 yards on the final play of the first half. West 22-21 at the break. Prep's game-winning drive covered 64 yards and almost all of the game's final 6 minutes. Jason Howells the touchdown. Prep ties Dunmore for the Big 11 title as we wrap up another campaign of local high school football.
Game 1 has Scranton Prep at Shamokin. The host Indians receive the opening kick and are driving. Quarterback Brian Stamets goes up top looking for Chad Ritchie, but Prep's Joe Grahusky intercepts the pass at the 20. The Cavaliers will put together a 12-play drive. Here, Jason Howells runs for 18 of his 37 yards in this drive. Howells' 37th yard comes on this 1-yard plunge. The 2-point conversion gave Prep an 8-0 lead. The Indians answer the Cavalier drive with a 12-play drive of their own. Shamokin keeps the ball on the ground this time as they cover 67 yards. Scott Krutz caps the drive with this touchdown, cutting the Prep lead to 2. Shamokin would then take the lead midway through the second quarter on this Greg Cleburne 30-yard field goal. Prep fights back, driving 63 yards. Dave Skoblik sweeps his way into the end zone, giving the Cavaliers a 16-9 halftime lead. Shamokin would tie the game in the second half, sending this one into overtime, where the Indians capped the comeback with a 32-24 victory.